Oh boy, this is different. This is different.
Mm-hmm.
Demko, welcome to Cypher.
Thanks, Mike.
It's good to have you here, man.
Yeah, it's good
This
to be
is crazy.
here.
For the people that don't know, we know each other prior to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah, we go way back.
Yeah.
You know, Mike's actually the reason I started rapping. If
Yeah.
I'm going to tell this story for the billionth time.
You can.
Should I look into the camera when I'm doing this?
We can do whatever we want.
All right, I'm gonna go back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
The camera loves me. Hi.
This is exciting because not only are you visiting and it's a good time, but we're gonna have a different interview than some of the other ones that I've done because we're really gonna get into the process of music today.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm excited.
We're gonna break it down.
Mm-hmm.
How did you, just for a little bit of background, how'd you get into hip hop? And I already know the story, but tell the abridged version.
I'll tell the audience too.
Yeah.
Well, I'd always been like introduced to hip hop a little bit. I always say that the song that really like inspired me to really love hip hop is "Touch the Sky" by Kanye West.
Great song.
Holy crap! The first time I heard that song, it blew my mind.
Great
Listening
song.
on my little old generation, like the thick block iPod Touch.
the one that you could throw across the room and it wouldn't break.
Yeah, like the Nokia phones. You can smack it against things. It's going to be
Right.
fine. Only holds like 1,000 songs.
Right.
Yeah, so with those cheap white
Only
earphones.
1,000, isn't that wild?
I know.
I think I have something like 5,000 songs, or maybe more. I don't know. I'd have to count.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
I heard it on this album. It was like the clean version of this Kanye West album. I didn't know what it was as a kid. I didn't know who Kanye West was.
Right.
But I heard it and I was like, oh my goodness. This makes me feel so powerful. It makes me feel like I can do anything. I can accomplish anything that I want. I'm going to close this before it.
Yeah.
Guys. And I can do anything that I want. And I was like, wow, I want to do that for people. So as I started getting into hip hop and started studying it as an art form and as a channel for self-expression, that became my goal. And I had never even considered rapping. I never even thought of it as something that I could do.
How old were you when you heard "Touch the Sky"? Do you remember?
Middle school.
Yeah, something like that.
It was pretty soon after Gold Digger came out, because the album was downloaded onto this iPod, and I was listening to it, and I was like, "That's a good song." And then I heard this other song, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Do you remember the first rap? I remember the first rap verse I ever heard. It was I don't know if it was the first one I ever heard, but it's the first one I have a good memory of hearing. It was Lil Wayne's feature verse on Kevin Rudolph's what is it? Let It Rock.
Yes.
That was like
Let it rock,
yeah.
let it rock.
And I remember
That's a
hearing
good
that, and I
song.
was like, "Yo, what the hell is this guy? He sounds like he's like about to pass out in the studio. His voice is so weird." It was Lil Wayne, and then I didn't realize who I was listening to, and obviously now it's a lot different. But that was like one of the first like vivid memories I had with hip hop. And I was sitting in the back of some guy's car. We were driving to a soccer practice. It just comes on, and I'm like, "Yo, what the hell is this?"
But isn't that crazy? It's like a hip-hop verse, a rap verse on a rock song is what brought you to an entirely new genre of music.
Yeah.
That was like your gateway drug into what has now become your life. That's crazy.
It's so crazy because part of it is like something about Cypher that I feel like eventually I want to do is focus on the like discovery of hip hop, because I feel like a lot of times I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of potential in like changing the way that people discover hip hop, because I discovered it through a rock song. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like I didn't look up, you know what I mean, Lil Wayne or anything like that. Like, I just kind of heard it and I was like, whoa, what? Like, and at first I was like, this is terrible. Like, I'm never gonna listen to this ever again. Now, like you said, it's a big part of what's going on. But it was wild. It's like I think there's something in the discovery of hip hop that can be, you know what I mean, maybe innovated. So I don't know. I'm interested in that thought. That's we can
helping people discover music that they're going to enjoy.
Yeah. There's something deeper there. But
I have a few different ways that I try to find new music. I'd say the biggest way is having people that I trust, who I really like their music taste.
Yeah.
Like we have a collaborative playlist that we are
do.
always adding songs to.
Yeah, which I added a few songs to the other day.
Oh,
yeah,
nice. I ought to listen to it again.
We'll do it later, yeah.
I listen to that when I work out, and I'm always like, ooh.
Yeah. Right.
This is a cool song. I've never heard this before.
Right.
It's not all hip hop. It's just a bunch of random stuff. But
yeah, it's just good music.
Having good friends with similar music taste who can show you good things, that's a big one.
Absolutely.
A lot of other ways I find it is artists who work with other artists that I like. Like I first discovered Sylvan LeCue because he was on a Chance the Rapper song. A Saba song. He was on a song with Saba.
And Saba put out a new album yesterday.
I saw that. I haven't listened to it yet. Shame on me, but I'm going to because I love Saba.
That's your Chicago guy.
Saba's one of the big inspirations for me. Yeah. I love his music. But listening to artists who work with other artists and then binging those artists,
right?
And that's one of my goals as an artist, as a musician, as a creative, is trying to work with those artists who work with those other artists who work with those other artists. You know,
right.
Trying to be one of those links in that chain of artists who are all collaborating together, making good art.
You know what's wild too? Like Sylvan is someone that I met when I was in LA in 2019. And you got the chance to work with him.
I did, yes.
Yeah, which was wild.
He was the first.
And that kind of came a little bit out of thin air a little bit. Like all of a sudden it was just like, oh, here's the opportunity. We got to take it. And we were working closely on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working on my song Haunted, which you can stream everywhere. It's a really good song, if I do say so myself.
Yeah. By the way, there's no bias in this interview today.
None at all. No we all know I'm great. That's just a fact.
There's no bias.
So, I had been a fan of Sylvan's for a while. I was like, I love a lot of his songs. I love Best Me. I love Apologies in Advance. That whole album is really awesome.
Right.
And then he posted on Instagram that he was doing features, and I talked to you about it, and we were just like, well, I got to take this opportunity. I might as well shoot my shot. I have this song that I had been working on for a year prior to that, where I wrote my verse, I wrote the choruses, I made the whole beat. It was all ready to go, and I knew I only wanted to do the first verse, because I said everything I had to say on the topic.
Right. I remember us like breaking this down.
Because at one point I was considering doing the whole song,
and
then it was just like, no, that just feels wrong. I already said my piece.
Well, you kind of mentioned that you were almost not struggling, not the right word. I'm just going to use it for the sake of not finding a better word. Sure. That like you couldn't think of what else you wanted to say on it.
Yeah,
you know,
I was struggling with
and
that.
That's fair.
I was like so stumped with it.
Yeah,
and then I
does that happen often, or is it pretty easy for you to like differentiate? All right, I know I'm going to do a full song to this, or like does it kind of come in the moment when you're like, all right, that's it, that's all I've had to say? It's
complicated. For me, I believe everything will find its place. There's a George Carlin quote. I'm going to butcher it, but he says something along the lines of write down every idea.
Yeah.
Don't never throw it away. Write it down. Keep it. It's important. It will find its purpose.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
To me, every single idea that I have, whether it's an idea for a TV show that I'm writing or a part I want to play because I'm an actor also.
Yeah.
Rap is one of the many things that I do.
Yeah.
Or an idea for an improv show I want to create, or ideas for lyrics, or even if I write 2 bars here or a full verse here but doesn't have a beat. They all have their place, and they will all find where they're supposed to be. It just takes time.
Yeah.
I have songs that came together over years because I would write a little bit here, and I would know there's something in that. There's something important in it, and I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's because it wasn't the right time for me to come up with the rest of it.
Yeah.
I would have been ahead of the level that I had built myself to if I had found it there. And sometimes it takes that extra time to get where you're supposed to go. For instance, with Haunted, to circle back, when I got when I pitched the song to Sylvan, he was like, hell yeah, I'll be on the track. It's a dope song.
Yeah,
and
he
so
got back to you right away.
Yeah, and then he jumped on the song, and I was over the moon. His verse was awesome. It is awesome. Go listen to it, please.
He's slept on. My favorite song from him is Eyelids. I have a bit of a crazy story about that. It's very short, but when I was in LA, I was with some, artists that I was, just kind of like kicking around with at the time, and we were all kind of out there, and we were visiting different studios or whatever, and one of the small studio kind of like out on the outskirts of LA, so it was about an hour drive from where we were staying out in Malibu or whatever, but like we were just like kicking around verses, and he spit this one verse, and it ended up becoming one of his verses on the song Eyelids. And I remember like thinking to myself, where have I heard this before? And I'm like, I heard him rehearse that in the studio like months before the song came out. And I was like, that's just a crazy like thing that, you know what I mean? I kind of like keep with me. But I remember being in the studio when he was like, I'm just writing this verse or whatever. I don't know if it's going to become anything. Ended up becoming one of my favorite songs by him.
That's
nuts.
Awesome.
His Haunted verse is dope as well.
Oh, yeah. And it's all timing, too. Because then soon after that, I met Luke Gahn. I I was an actor. I did a bunch of stunts in one of his music videos. And from that, I was like, he's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Gon is such a nice guy. Actually, shout out to Gon. He actually just had a song be released
with the video
yesterday, 2 days ago, called Hurt with Atlas, and it is awesome. I'm in that music video too. I did a bunch of stunts. There's 3 consecutive shots where I die. It was super fun. So I met him. I pitched him Haunted.
Right.
And I was like, hey man, I would love for you to be on this song, to do the third verse, to close it all out. I think you would be incredible on it. And being the nice guy that he is, he took a chance on me because at that point I was even smaller than I am now, and only had one album out. And not a whole lot to show for it. And he took a chance on me, and I'm so grateful for that because he spat such an awesome verse. And it really tied the whole song together. But that song couldn't have happened unless all of the timing was right. Everything happened at exactly the right time to get me where I needed to go, to get the song to all come together. If I had done if I had gone against my instincts and written the whole song all at once, it would have been wrong. It just would have felt wrong.
Well, that song got playlisted on Spotify. Yeah, it's streamed. Yeah, people like that one. Talk a little bit about your writing process. Like, what comes first, the lyrics, the beat? Because I know you do all your own production.
I do do all my own. Do all my own production.
When you're in your own head or whatever, when you're coming up with ideas, or how does it work for you? Is it just like a tornado of thought, and then all of a sudden you kind of pick the ideas one by one, or is it like
I get hit with this like lightning bolt of inspiration sometimes. It depends. There's a whole bunch of different ways I go about it. I don't have like one system, but I'd say the most typical way is I'll just be doing something. I'll be listening to music. A lot of times it'll happen when I hear a new artist or a new song by an artist that I already love, and that will inspire me into this kind of like creative state where I'm like, man, I have to do something now. Excuse me. That's that acid reflux coming back. So it's all just like a random splattering of throwing spaghetti at the wall. But I'll hear an artist on a song, and I'm like, wow, this is really innovative. I haven't heard someone tackle a beat like that before. It inspires me to go just as hard, to tackle a beat in as innovative of a way. I'm a rapper, you'd think I'd be able to speak. In as innovative of a way as I'm hearing these other rappers do it. It's making me like, man, I wanna be there. I wanna work to make my lyrics, my flows that good, and it keeps me pushing myself. So a lot of times I'll hear a song like that, and it'll push me to tackle a beat in a new and innovative way, and then I'll start writing to that beat. Other times, I start with the beat, and I'm like, you know what? I feel like I need to make a beat right now, and I don't know why, but I'm going to follow that instinct, that like divine presence. I have a whole bunch of weird, crazy views on creativity that I could go into if you want me to, but for right now, I'll leave it at, I follow that idea that, I know I need to be creating something, and I will let myself take the time and do what I need to do. And that will lead me to creating some kind of beat or some kind of thing, and I just keep throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks and finding what sounds good. And then I have a brand new beat that sometimes I work on the same beat for months. I have beats that I'm still working on for months. A song that I'll bring up from my computer today is Roses. Oh yeah, which I know you love, but
that's my favorite beat that you've done so far.
I appreciate it. I made that beat in an hour and a half. I just knew I had to create something, and I just created it. Sometimes I'll write 4 bars at a time. Sometimes I'll write an entire verse that has a through line and a message. Sometimes I'll have a song where I'm like, I know exactly what I need to say in this song, so I need to just write to the beat, write to the song. And I tend to feel like I like and appreciate my own verses more when I write it to the beat, because then I feel like everything goes together. The beat fits with the lyrics, and the lyrics with the beat, because they were made together. They were built to be like those cogs in a machine that fit into place. But it's not always that way. A lot of times my other verses come out when like I'll take like 4 lines I wrote here and 8 lines I wrote here and 4 lines here, and I'm like, wow, these tell a story. I didn't know I was going to tell this story, but I knew that at this point I needed to talk about a time when I was in a low spot in my life.
Right.
And then this one talks about getting out of a low spot in my life. And then this one talks about how I've overcome things. And it's like, oh, I can put these together and they fit over a beat and they tell a story and they were meant to be together because all ideas have a place. You just have to wait for the right timing.
Right. You know, a question about process. And this is, you know, some people say that in order to, you know, the 10,000 hours thing, like you have to force yourself to do it every day. That's how you get better. That's how you improve. And then sometimes it's like, well, just when you're feeling like you want to create music, you create music. What side of that argument are you on?
I would probably err on the side of do it even when you don't want to. Do something even when you don't want to.
So you feel like there's a small aspect of like force yourself to make things sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes,
But that can be hard because like
it can be really hard.
That's part of the reason why I sometimes get upset with I still write all the time, and you know I do that. I mean, like, you know, it's half a verse here. It's just when it's for me it's only when I'm feeling it. You know, I can't force myself to do it anymore. I can force myself to, you know what I mean, like work on this kind of stuff, whatever. But like I always felt like for me, it only worked when I was feeling it, you know? So it's just a different perspective. But why
I think
do you
it depends.
Yeah.
For me, I am a creative. As for my livelihood, I live off of the things that I create. I do professional improv. I'm an actor. I've been in movies and TV shows and yada, 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 and I make music. All of that, they're all different ways that I'm creating, that I'm constantly, you know, connecting to that spiritual part of myself. We had a teacher in high school, because we went to high school together. We had a teacher in high school. We had a teacher in high school who said that I remember this so vividly. He said that there's some theologians who believe that being creative, that expressing yourself is as close as you can get to actually talking to God.
Yeah, that's
that you
wild.
are opening up a channel from God to be expressing what you have. We went to a Catholic high school.
Yeah.
If you didn't pick that up, and hence the Kairos cross in your neck.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't bring mine. I don't like to travel with it.
Yeah.
So in my mind, being creative is connecting to something on a higher power, something spiritual, something inside of yourself that I feel called to create.
Right.
I feel this need, this knack. And when I'm not feeling like creating, I think it's important to still take inventory of the things that I have to create and start doing those little things. I don't need to be in an incredibly creative state to do a bunch of mixing. I just have to sit down and do it.
Right.
That's like the busy work.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between sitting down to write and sitting down to create.
Do you write every day?
I don't write every day. I do something every day. And it's not necessarily write. Sometimes I make a beat. Sometimes I produce. Sometimes I write a script that I'm working on. Sometimes I go and I like, you know, perform an improv show. I do something to connect with my creativity, but I try to do so many different things because I get bored. I get really bored of things.
Yeah.
So if I'm just doing one thing, it's always just like, God, I'm just doing the one thing.
Like creative people just tend to have that feeling of like, okay, I've been doing this for however long, I'm getting bored of it, gotta do something else, you know? And that's part of being a creative, is it doesn't always have to be writing every day, you know?
Exactly.
So that's part of that mindset. You brought some music with you today.
I brought a lot of music with
that we might break down. I really want to talk about process with you, because I think that there's a lot of substance in that. So do you mind if we open it up?
Of course.
Let's get to it.
Okay.
I'm gonna put the headphones on too for this one.
All right. I'm gonna turn off the chorus.
Yeah. So like,
you can just hear the beat, and then I can turn the chorus back on.
Yeah, and you don't even have to rap right away. Maybe we can save the rap for the end.
Yeah.
But like, let's talk about like, you know, when you're making beats, like, you know, take us through your process and like maybe even break it down. Like, for example, the Roses beat. Maybe we can start with that one, just because I am a big fan of that. Like, talk about like what you were thinking, like how it kind of came together. Go for it.
Sure. Should I play it first?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I'm gonna turn this up.
Yeah, go for it.
This is lightly mixed, completely unmastered.
Yeah. And when did you make this?
A week and a half ago?
Yeah.
2 weeks ago?
So recent.
Maybe a little longer.
The scratches are insane.
Run that shit, motherfucker.
How long did it take you to, I mean, I know the answer to this, but how long did it take you to like become this?
A long time.
And maybe you feel like you're not even quite there yet, but like...
I still have work to do. I'm always going to have work to do. I
Right.
mean, the bar keeps getting higher and higher and higher with all these new... I'll pause this for a sec.
Yeah.
With all these new amazing artists coming out and these incredibly inventive producers, the bar just keeps getting higher and higher, and I'm going to constantly try to keep pushing that and keep reaching
Facts.
for it.
So break this one down.
So, I use a lot of Splice samples. I love
Yeah.
Splice. Splice is king.
Splice is dope.
Splice is awesome.
Yeah.
So I started with this piano sample that I'll isolate really quick.
Mm-hmm. If I heard that, immediately I would have to do something with it.
Oh yeah. I was originally gonna put it aside and work on a different beat. I was like, I knew I liked this drum loop that I throw in here. Yeah. So I started my process with making beats a little bit is I'll find a sample to be like the basis of it. I grew up playing guitar. I know like some music theory. I have more of an ear for it than anything. I do a lot of improvised music. My main performing gig is doing musical improv. I get on stage, I improvise musicals, and I was in a band for a musical improv show where I was the guitarist, so I would improvise musical improv shows from the guitar spot. So I would like be making up melodies and like adding to songs that the musical director, the pianist, is playing.
A lot of technical work.
Exactly, and it's a lot of listening and a lot of like using my ear.
Right. You sound a little bit like Timbaland. I took his masterclass course. You know, like the masterclass.
Masterclass is awesome.
Yeah,
too.
and I like.
Shout out to Masterclass.
Yeah, right. They know us.
Yeah.
But like,
We're not sponsored.
Yeah, I took his course and just to like see like what his whole thing was, and like he said I have very little musical training, but like I just hear it, and I was talking to my dad about it, and he's like, oh, you have to have musical training, and I'm like, you do, but you kind of don't. It helps if you do. Big advantage if you do.
So when I was starting out making music, I was a guitarist. My dad has been playing like rockabilly blues for like 40 years, 30 years. If I say 40 years, he'll be upset. Hey, I'm not that old. So he's been playing it for a long time. He has a huge guitar collection. I've always just been around music like that because he's always up there playing it, singing. So that's where I picked it up. And so I was a musician. I was a guitarist before I was anything else. Before I even picked up acting, before I picked up performing, I was a guitarist. And I would play a lot of blues guitar, a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan type stuff, a lot of Hendrix and Eddie Van Halen, and those were my big influences. But I would get so frustrated with taking lessons because it moved too slow for me. I just wanted to pick it up and be able to just play, to just play what I felt. I didn't care about how anything worked.
Right.
And a little bit that holds me back as a guitarist because I kind of got to the point where I'm like, all right, I think I'm as good as I feel like getting at guitar because I don't want to be a guitarist. I can use my guitar to add to things.
Right.
A lot of my beats you'll hear, like if you hear a guitar, there's a good chance it's me playing the guitar.
Yeah.
Not all of them. Like in Haunted is a guitar feature. That's not my guitar. That is a sample that I found. But I play everything by ear on guitar. I know the basics of I know where everything is. I know all the chords. I know some scales.
Right.
But I don't know enough to be able to break down all the technicalities of guitar. But what I do know is how to listen and how to add things.
And that's a skill.
And
that's an acquired skill.
How to figure out what the placement of everything should be within a song.
Right.
That is what I grew up learning. So that's what I apply to music production.
Right. So to bring it back to Roses.
Exactly. I hear that piano beat and I'm like, okay, this is the basis for something. This is this is going to be the main sample in this song. So once I have the sample that is like, the highlight, the featured sample, then I'm finding things to build around it to help bring out that sample.
Right.
For example, I just made a rhyme there.
Yeah.
You tell I'm a rapper. For example, we got a flute that comes in and a low bass.
Right.
Then
and that's subtle, but also, Derek, talk about like
All these things
that's
just
cool.
subtly in the background.
Talk about how the subtle parts of the beat can almost make the biggest difference.
Oh, they
because
make an enormous difference.
of course, everyone's gonna hear that piano, that because that piano sample is dope, and like that's what you're gonna hear 1st, right? It's the first thing that comes on. It's the main focus. Like sometimes when I'm listening to music, I try to like put music in a 3D box. I take aspects of the song and I put them in this 3D box. So for example, like that piano sample, that's a big part of the box, right? It's right in front of you.
Yeah.
It's front and center.
That's the face of the beat.
Exactly. So talk about how some of those more subtle aspects that are maybe towards the back of the box or maybe are smaller sitting in the corner, like talk about how those make a big difference.
Sure. If you're someone who loves hip hop, which if you're watching this podcast,
Probably
listening to the podcast, watching the video, I hope you're a fan of hip hop. The best beats are the beats that make you keep coming back,
Right.
Because there's just something about them that is almost indescribable. That like it just keeps you listening, keeps you coming back for more. And it's those subtle things in the background. Every time you listen to it, you hear something new. It's like a good lyricist. Every time you listen to that verse, you're going to catch a new bar. You're going to catch a new double meaning. You do the same thing with the beats.
Right.
You add subtle things in the background, little things to fill out the world of the beat. You push it back with this reverb so it feels like you're in a whole soundscape of this beat. And yes, there's the things that are more front facing, and that's like the general public who aren't insane about music like
They're
the way
just
we
listening
are
because they like how it sounds.
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
They don't think about these things, but they notice these things. The ear picks up on these things.
Right.
That's what separates a truly great beat from an amateur beat, is
Yeah.
being able to make the beat both unique and original in your unique style, but also add all of the little things in the background and the depth of the
Right.
of the beat to bring out what the beat is. And adding one thing can bring out the best in another thing. Another thing I love to do is chop up the sample. So
Yeah, let's talk about that.
This is coming into the second half of the beat. This is the chorus coming into the second part. You'll hear these little stabs that come in. Right here, listen. That done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like a bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just adds so much. Now this is where I chop up the beat a little bit.
Run that shit, motherfucker.
And part of that's just like you just have to feel that,
Oh yeah.
right?
That's
And you have to just try. You have to talk about just like trying shit.
Oh yeah, it's always. I always call it just throwing spaghetti at the wall. I'll hear something. I'm like, I need to do something with this. I have no idea what I'm gonna do, but I need to try something. And 9 times out of 10, trying will just lead you to what you need to do. It's sitting back and waiting for the answer that is. I think, what holds most artists back, is sitting back and waiting and like, I need to come up with this thing. How do I come up with this thing? I guess I'm just going to wait until I come up with this thing. No,
Yeah.
just start trying shit. If it doesn't work, you'll know.
Yeah.
Just take a step back and fucking try
How
it
often
again.
does it not work for you?
Am I allowed to say fuck?
Yeah.
Okay.
How often does it not work for you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I would say like, I don't know. I can't put a number on it, but
Right.
sometimes like I'll try something and it instantly sticks. I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I needed. But sometimes I'll do something and be like, that was the wrong call. Let me just press undo a
Right.
bajillion times and
Right.
go back and start from a clean slate. A lot of times I'll actually take the files that I'm going to be chopping up or whatever I'm going to be trying, even if I'm like messing with vocals and stuff, and I'll copy it somewhere, and then I'll mute that and put it off to the side so I can feel free to do whatever I want. And I
Right.
might be wasting my time for 2 hours and I had it perfect already, but then at least I know. Because sometimes I'll listen to a song that I've released, like especially my earlier stuff. I could have taken longer with the production on. I still think they're great songs. I'm still proud of everything I've released.
Absolutely.
But a couple of the first singles, I hear it and I'm like, wish I had tried this. It might not have worked, but could have tried it.
Yeah.
But that's just how it goes. That's part of the learning curve. I'm at the point now where I'm like, I can just try anything and see if it sticks.
Right. So, like, talk about when you feel like a beat is done. Because I think I think for a lot of producers, that's a big topic. You know what I mean? Like, some producers maybe feel like it's never done. And then at some point, it just has to be finished, right? So for you, when does it feel done to you?
I could tinker forever. But to me, I've gotten to the point where a beat is done when the lyrics are laid over it.
Okay.
Because so many times I'll make a beat and I'm like, yeah, this beat is awesome. I love how it sounds. I'm grooving with it. It's sweet. And then I lay the lyrics over it and I'm like, well, guess not.
Right.
Something about it is off. And then I have to start chopping other points up. I start taking out points to accentuate the verse. Because if I'm gonna make a song, I'm a lyricist first. I want people to listen to my lyrics. The beat has to help the audience groove to the lyrics. That is the point of the beat, in my opinion, for what I'm trying to do. So for me, a beat is done when it helps the audience listen to the lyrics. When it pushes the song itself forward, when it helps the whole composition.
I like that. A beat is done when it helps people listen to the lyrics. I think that's cool.
And
what about the hook on this one?
I recorded a hook. I wrote it in the car a few days ago.
Yeah.
And then I quickly recorded it. So
because the
be
hook
aware
on
this is also unmixed, unmastered.
Yeah, but like the hook on this like complements the beat a lot. You know what I mean? So I definitely want to hear it. But like to you, like the hook of this beat is done. Okay.
Yeah.
Even though it's not mixed or mastered.
It's not mixed. I still need to do some stuff with it. I'm going to double up vocals and whatnot. But I love the message.
Conceptually, it's there.
Conceptually, it is here.
Yeah.
And this is how it sounds.
They think 'cause I can rap real nice, then I probably got some bottles on nice. Any models I like, yeah, they probably wanna follow that life, 'cause I probably got no problems, that's right. Yeah, they think it's all roses, it's all roses, it's all roses, it's all roses. Think it's all roses, it's all roses, it's all
Yeah, he's bumping his head.
Run that shit, motherfucker.
Yeah. That's wild.
Run that shit, motherfucker.
Right. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's I want to talk also a little bit about resilience because you know, some of the stuff that you're making now is dope, right? But like it's so different stylistically than what you were making on Resilience.
Sure.
So, you know, maybe talk a little bit about the mindset that you were in when you were making Resilience, and then also like we hadn't put out the album yet and you were already like geeked about the new stuff that you were working on. So talk a little bit about that balance, because that's a struggle for an
When I
artist.
was making Resilience, I really wanted to go for that nostalgic kind of old school feel. Like I put a
Absolutely.
little bit of a modern twist on some of the songs, and you know, I just made it me.
Right.
But a lot of the samples and the production, it's very old school. A lot of boom bap sounds.
You know what you should do? You should play The Good Life very quietly underneath this conversation so
Sure.
people can hear it.
I'll probably have to pull it up from my phone.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
I can improv a little bit here while you're pulling that up.
Sure.
You know, Resilience was like that was a project for you that took 2 years.
Yeah.
You know,
It took a long time for me.
Yeah, a lot of time, a lot of effort, but
It was the magnum opus of its time for me.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is I put so much work and time and effort into it, and it's a collection of songs that tell a story of me struggling and trying to find myself and trying to figure out who I am and what I want, and whether I even want to be making music, and I just can't pull myself away from making music, and it tells that whole story of my struggle and my hopes and my dreams and my joys.
yeah,
And let me pull up The Good Life.
yeah, because that's my favorite one. Yeah, even a little quieter. I want to be able to talk over it, but
Sure.
you know, like talk about just making that album. I mean, I was there for a big part of it, you know, and
you
I
were.
enjoyed like, you know, talking about those songs with you and working on those songs with you. You know what I mean? But I mean, talk about what that was like for you getting those songs out.
It was pretty liberating once I finally had a finished product, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, 2 years.
Finally, yeah, 2 years of work, like making so many songs, shedding my heart, writing, rewriting, trying to make such great music. And the thing is, I still love every song on it, and I don't give myself enough credit. I'm very hard on myself and very I'm always motivated to keep doing better, so I look at the things that I've done and I'm like, I can do better. But taking it for what it is, I'm incredibly proud of myself for what I was able to accomplish. It's an album that I made on my computer in my bedroom,
Right.
Before I even got a better mic, and
Right.
it's like I'm very proud of myself. I think I did a really damn good job with it.
Yeah.
And it captures a lot of who I am and the kind of stuff I want to create.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, it's kind of like a jumping off point for me. It's like once I released the first couple singles, I was like, okay, I have music out there. I'm gaining my catalog. Once I release this, I'm like, okay, I've released a project, something I've put so much time and effort, something I've put my life into, and now it is out here. And
we're rolling around Chicago, bumping it. That was a lot of fun.
I want to start this verse over because I
Slap
really
a rapper by the microphone.
Yeah, I really like this verse, and I think. Do
you want to listen to it?
Yeah.
Turn that up.
I slap a rapper by the microphone, tell him not to live his life alone, then fuck his wife at home. This pessimist will get sadistic if he gets his cover blown. Something like the devil and his clone live inside his dome. Wait, that don't sound like me. Fake rap's a great trap. I sleep good and pound iced tea. Damn, that goes down nicely. Body shouldn't smoke as much, the same my brain will rot. But I'm about to
I lost my train of thought.
I'm adamant that half a dab of scatterbrained rapper babble lapping around my Adam's apple put me on the map. The subtle hints of optimism muddled in the composition, stopping my esophagus.
The opposite of that.
I slowly spin these flows to cope with loneliness. I know some new phenobians I'm roping in like holy shit, I'm back. I'm deadly if you hesitate. It's commonplace to celebrate the hella rays like holidays. So fuck it,
I'm the man. It's commonplace to celebrate the hell I raise like holidays.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, it's just insane. It's been crazy for me too, just to like, as like somebody who's like done this music with you for so long, you know what I mean? Because for the people that don't know, like, I'll give the very abridged version of the story because I'm really into what we're doing right now. I don't want to get off topic.
Sure.
We kind of, in high school had our own like music group, and we were making music together. We were freestyling in your attic, and we had no idea what we were doing, but we were just like, this is what we want to do, and we were just kind of like vibing to it a lot.
We had the passion. We didn't have the
talent. No,
we hadn't cultivated it.
That came later, right?
Yeah. Now a decade later.
Right. No, literally 10 years.
Yeah,
like
literally 10 years. Sophomore year of high school, 15.
Yeah, that's right. Holy crap, that's crazy. And like I remember first getting into hip hop, and I was like, I need someone to do this with, like, you know what I mean? But
so
it's
the story I alluded to
you,
at the very beginning of the podcast.
From there to here.
Yeah, the story I alluded to. Sorry to cut you off. At the beginning of the podcast was how I even got into rap. Was how I even got into rap. I was taking the bus home from school, and I went and I sat in the back, and I heard this kid
next to some weird fucking kid named Michael.
Yeah, I heard this. I heard someone freestyle rapping, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, he sounds terrible.
So I kept moving seats back to get closer to it, and then I noticed Ryber over here, and he's spitting bars, and I was like, that's
bars.
Air quotes around the bars.
Time,
15-year-old bars.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to try that. So I tried my hand at it, tried like spitting stuff, and I was terrible. But it turned into a very fast friendship, and that turned into us. The first beats that I ever tried to produce, the first experiences I ever had trying to produce a beat and like mix vocals with it, and it sounded terrible.
Oh my
the
God.
first single you created, I was the producer for it.
Yeah.
I didn't make the beat, but I mixed everything together.
Yeah.
Terribly.
I know. Terribly.
But we did all of those
that
first
was humbling.
together.
I will say that, like, when I was on the bus or whatever, like, it sounds so fucking typical. It's on the bus rapping. But like I remember being on the bus, and it was just like hip hop was one of those things where I felt like, okay, maybe I have a thing now. That was what hip hop was for me, you know what I mean? Like, and you kind of helped me, like, by just empowering me to continue to do it, you know what I mean? And you were like, no, take this and run.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of gave me a little bit of that like power to do that, that I wasn't really getting from anyone else. My parents weren't hip hop fans. My dad had no idea what, he's like Led Zeppelin, he's Pink Floyd, my mom is like Cher and Tina Turner, you know what I mean? Like, and I was developing music tastes of my own for the first time. And like, when you're in middle school and high school, you start to listen to what you want to listen to, Mm-hmm. You're not just listening to what your parents have on in the car anymore. And like, so that was really what it was for me. And then I just felt like I had something, you know what I mean, that could be mine,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what it was for me. That's why I was so powerful. I don't know. It was a crazy time, but like looking now to where, you know what I mean, you are in terms of like lyric ability, you know what I mean, and all this, and producing is just like it's incredible.
And I can feel my style changing. I'm feeling.
That's also the cool part. You've become an artist to the point where you can be dynamic and it still sounds good, rather than like there's some artists, and I'm not going to use names. Just I will. Logic is one of those artists that I feel like is a bit of a type rapper. Like he has a certain style that he doesn't really pull much away from, and he's damn good at his style, right? He owns his style. But like, do you see him doing a lot of experimental music? Not really. He did the Supermarket album, which was for his book, and we talked a little bit about that last night, and it was a bit of a weird vibe. But at the same time, it's like he doesn't break away from what he does. You know what I mean? He does it well, but you're in that area now where you're starting to realize, okay, I can try this, I can try that. That's fucking cool to watch.
Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to make music that that I listen to, and I'm like, yeah, this really feels like me. I mean, the stuff before felt like me, but now I'm
#hypocrite. That was and
I'm
Hypocrite
pushing
was,
myself.
Right, and Hypocrite was interesting too because, like, all right, let's be honest, right? The Hypocrite stuff was not your best.
No,
work.
it's bad. The lyrics are always good. That is
Right.
something I'll pat myself
The
on the
lyrics
back
were
for.
good.
I can give a tip in my hat. I've always
Right.
felt like I've been a good lyricist.
Right.
I'm lyrically clever, but now my lyrics, I feel like they have meaning
Intention.
too. Intention is a good word for it. I know what I'm trying to say, rather than just having clever lyrics, clever wordplay, all like
Right.
interesting flows. It's now I'm like, okay, I have a message that I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
and I'm going to convey that message through clever wordplay and intricate flows.
You needed that Hypocrite time in your life, though, to be able to get to Demko.
That's
you know what I
that's
mean?
where I learned how to produce. It's where I learned how to
Right.
mix.
The Hypocrite stuff was a little bit muddy, you know what I mean? Like it was trying to maybe find its own legs, you know what I mean? And then once you kind of realized, okay, this is how, this is what that lever does. This
Exactly.
is what that button does. You know what I mean?
And the insane thing is, when the pandemic hit, I went back home to my family in the suburb of Detroit. Everyone else had things to do. Some of my siblings were still in school. Some of my siblings had jobs, and I was, I'm the actor, so like all of my jobs are like part-time jobs that you can't do remotely, and I got laid off from everything. So I'm just sitting there at home going crazy.
Right.
So what I did was I learned the craft of mixing, of actually the nitty-gritty of mixing, things I had never bothered to learn before that.
Right.
And that is where the transition happened from Hypocrite to Demko, because then I started being like, oh man, like I can make things way better than I thought was even possible, because now I understand what I'm doing. Now I have intention in my beat making. Now I know the kind of beats I want to make, and I know how to make them, and I know how to make them sound good.
Right.
And then so that's what led me to Resilience, and now I'm at the point where I can be like, okay, now that I've done the old school thing, now I can do more modern stuff. Now I'm feeling free to do whatever kind of stuff I want, and I can just go for it. And speaking of go for it, I have a song that dropped today.
That's right.
or last night at midnight.
Right.
This morning.
This is gonna come out in about a week, but yeah, you just put some bars out.
Mm-hmm. Can I play a bit of it?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I don't really understand what you said to me. Talking about fat chance that I live my dreams, and I hear it everywhere. Everyone I see has been doubting me. Yeah, I've never been an average man. I'm the bomb like an atom split. Damn, spit hotter than a candle wick to make your brain expand more than the cannabis can. And shit, I can still pop off. So if you diss the man, then your limbs will disband. And if you can't see that, then you must be a blind motherfucker. You're an Oedipus man, but still not a dynamite.
Just Hypocrite could not flow like that.
No, not at all. And
You couldn't write rhymes like that, but could you flow on a beat like that? Probably not.
Probably not. And it took creating an entire project for 2 years, and creating 3 albums under a different name before that for another 4 years for me to be able to get to this point where I can listen to a beat and actually do that. And shout out to the producer of this beat, JJ Beats. This is the only song that I have released, and even at this point intend to release, where I didn't make the beat. And it's because I connected with this guy on Instagram. He's a producer from Germany. He's awesome. And he made this beat, and he reached out and he was like, hey man, like I would love for you to rap on one of my beats. Here's one that I think you would kill. And I heard it and I was like, my goodness.
Wild.
I am going to do something awesome with this beat. So we collaborated on this, and I appreciate him for that, because this beat slaps.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about having patience as an artist, because I feel like a lot of times, you know what I mean, artists want to rush to maybe not the end goal, but they want to, they want to have that finished product right away. Or they want to be at, the level that you're at, or they want to be at the level that some of these other artists are at right away. Talk about having patience, like, the importance of, what Hypocrite meant for go for it.
Mm-hmm. Progress is slow. Things happen when they're supposed to happen, in my mind. Like, the universe has a way of giving you the tools that you need when you need them. If you have these tools too early, you're going to use them wrong. You won't know how to use them. If I had gotten this beat 4 years ago and tried to rap on it then, the song I would have made would have stunk.
Yeah.
I wrote verses for Hypocrite that I'm like, dang, that was such a good verse, and I wasted on a terrible beat and a shitty hook. So I actually thought about recycling a lot of those verses into like an album that I would call Hypocrite or something, and it's just like an homage to the stuff I used to make. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. But the point being, you get the tools that you need when you need them. Progress is slow. Progress takes a long time. A year ago, me and you were sitting on my back porch by the fire talking about.
That was pretty romantic.
It was very romantic. Talking about the things that we wanted to do, the life we wanted to create for ourselves.
Yeah,
I wanted to be making music. I wanted to be working with artists that I admire and respect. I wanted to be finding listeners, gaining fans, finding my place in this industry that feels so daunting, so like away from everything. And you can talk about what you wanted if you want.
I just wanted to be involved in hip hop, I just love it. And so I just wanted to find a way to be able to do it. And this is what it was for me.
And now we're here, but it took a year. And through that year, it didn't feel like I was making a lot of progress. It felt very slow. Especially when I released Resilience, it didn't really pick up a lot of traction, which is fine. I didn't expect it to be like blow up right away, become the next acid rap. That's what I wanted. It's not what I expected, and it goes slowly, but it goes slow for a reason, and this industry, being an artist, it demands patience. Impatience creates bad art. And that's where you get like shitty movies that are made with like a huge budget but like really, really, really fast. Impatience creates bad art. You have to have patience. You have to let the art breathe. It becomes its own living thing. Like so many times, you see an artist release a track that changes their life, and the track takes on a meaning of its own. And for each individual person who listens to it, they have their own meaning tied to it, their own thing that they relate to it. The art becomes its own living, breathing organism. And the artist that created that, it only happens when you let the art have that time to breathe. It has to grow. It has to manifest into what it's meant to be. And same thing with a career. It's not going to happen overnight. If it does, you're not going to be ready for it. You're not going to have worked for what you gained.
Absolutely. We're getting close to the end, and you brought a freestyle. But at the same time, my last question is just two questions. First, what's your advice to artists?
Just go for it, to quote my own song. But just do it. Do it as much as you can. Do everything you can.
Don't be afraid to do it, even if you think it might not be good.
Exactly. Even if you think it's gonna suck. Who cares? Do it. Do it, and do it your way. Do it the way you want to do it. You are the only person that can make your art. I saw that written in your bedroom last night. Because I was in your bedroom last night.
The reason why I wrote that on the wall is because when I was starting out with this Cypher stuff, I was like, what is this show? What am I doing with this? And I eventually realized that the show is just me, and I'm the only one that can make the art that I'm making. So that's kind of the whole point behind that. But I like that advice. Just do it. You know what I mean?
You're never gonna.
And it's easier said than done, right?
Because you're never gonna make it if you don't start.
You might doubt yourself or whatever. Getting past that's really hard.
Exactly.
My last question is just, what can the fans look forward to?
I have a whole bunch of songs I've been recording.
Without giving too much away.
I've been in the studio 8 hours a day for the last 4 days before I came here because I wanted to show you all the stuff I was working on, and I recorded 6 new songs. I have a whole bunch of stuff coming out. I have a song that came out today. I'm working on another song with Gone that's gonna just absolutely blow everyone's minds. I'm sure of it. I'm so excited. So
And you brought something to.
I brought some stuff.
gonna
So
bless them out for
they're
us?
not actual freestyles. I'm a terrible freestyler. You do
Yeah,
not
yeah.
want to see me freestyle. It's garbage. I do freestyle for my musical improv shows, but that's different.
Yeah.
That's comedy.
Yeah.
I can be stupid and fun.
Right.
But these are just these are verses. I'm gonna how much time do we have? 7 minutes?
6 minutes.
6 minutes. Okay. I'm going to quickly do 2 verses over Roses, and then I'm going to switch up the beat, and I'm going to do a different verse over that one.
Love it.
These are not the verses that are going to end up on Roses, but they're verses that I think sound cool.
Yeah.
Nope, that's not plugged in. My bad. Okay. Look at me being professional.
I know.
Holding this
Come
up.
on, man. What the hell?
Rap real nice.
Okay.
They think 'cause I can rap real nice, then I probably got some bottles on nice. Any models I like, yeah, they probably
Yeah.
wanna follow that life. 'Cause
What's
they
up?
probably got no
This is
problem
why we're
that's
here.
Right. Yeah, they think it's all roses, it's all roses, it's all roses, it's all
Teach them
roses.
something.
They think it's
Okay.
all
Speak to them.
All right, I will.
all roses,
I'll do my best. Yo.
it's all roses.
Yo, I'm feeling like the man now. And how? I'm the hands down leader of the class, no question. I said hands down. I got tired of sitting, so I stand out. The kind of guy who wouldn't take a hand off, let alone a handout. Who knew my anti-stress work would turn into my best work. Growing out my network and blowing up my net worth and never skipping leg day. I always do the legwork, so come on, dive in head first. I'll reciprocate. I'm backwards like manga and get the dub like an anime. Throwing hands like a patty cake, leave a rapper dilapidated. I'm actually glad I made it to sneeze in your elevator. I'm higher than the ground he stood on when Ben gave the melt to Vader. And so on and so on, I get to flowing and no one alive can stop me. I'm godly, but still I Wilson like Owen. Now the bygones are bygones, but I get blunt and I Bogart. So I'll stay patient and won't start and write my life into postcards. And that's
They think 'cause I can rap real nice, then I probably got some
What's up?
bottles
Come on,
on
it's not
nice.
over.
Any
I got one more over this verse. You got to listen to the chorus first though.
Cause I probably got no problems, that's right. Yeah, they think it's all roses, it's all roses, it's all roses, it's all roses, think it's all roses, it's
Yeah.
all roses, it's
Yeah.
all roses,
Again.
it's all roses.
Yo. When it gets rough, the earth quakes and they shook. They start to point fingers at me now. Like, hey, look, he gets no gains like Matt Nagy's playbook. But that's all capped like old folks on Facebook. I've been growing up from faces with acne. I've been blowing up like faces and Acme. If they're throwing doubt, then they ain't looking at me. And all my weird shit gets green lit like Gatsby. So get at me, I'm mad as I can be. I'm dandy, I'm sweeter than some candy. You can't see? I'm lean and I'm mean and I'm nasty. The sheriff with you under my heel like Andy, yeah. And I've been born again like every morning I wake up and have to push the devil out the door again. I'm really getting bored of him. I'm moving up the brackets like a tournament and lighting more trees than a fucking Christmas ornament.
It's hard. Switch it up.
All right.
Man,
I got another one coming for you.
I'm sweating. I'm sweating.
Me too.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's come on, load. You know what? I have the beat right here. Woo. Yeah.
I like when it.
Yeah.
I like this.
This is a feature I did for Kai Waves. Yeah. Not his beat though. Last call, counting down till I blast off, and I'm leaving them slack-jawed, never slack off, and I can't give a shit cause I'm working my ass off, yeah. So hats off to the freaks and the nerds and the ones getting passed off. Look at me as the proof that a kid getting bullied can make him a treasure of trash talk, but still have been doubting myself. Things looking up and I'm down on myself. Know that success ain't all about wealth, but I'm low on my funding and money ain't making itself. But like every time I spend it, I'ma feel like I can blow it any minute. Try to go to Lamborghinis from the Civic and I'll be the one they mimic when they try to spit it greater than the gray. It's my MO bringing hope to a cynic like, look, you can let the pain make you lonely and keep your chin up like a nosebleed. And if you know this, then you know me, everything ain't better than the old me. I'm the one and the only, flowing but a roadrunner with the flow speed, gold for the homies. Met a bad bitch in my show and that's how I met your mother, Ted Mosby, yeah. And I'm about to kill again, I'm like the Peaky Blinders, call me Killian. I just been ghosting rappers that I'm realer than, cause I'm a catch a nick and never reel it in. There's a lot of people trying to get the greatest every verse, I'm cutting out the middleman. And in my dark place, I'm Scarface, so say hello to my little friend.
Demko.
Yeah.
What's up, yo?
Yeah, thanks for having
That's
me.
why we're here, man. That's why we're here. Hey,
Let me pause that.
don't leave me hanging. That's what I'm talking about. This has been the Cypher, Demko. We're gonna have to have you back, man. This has been incredible. Thank
I'm
you for
coming back anytime.
Thank you for
I'm gonna
sharing
burst into the
this.
studio.
Thank you for sharing this with us. This has been a deep dive into the process of an artist, and I know
Deep dive
now-
into our relationship.
Yeah, exactly. It's been we've been going strong for a long time. But
I do have to say, you have been the one of the two biggest influential people on me as a musician. You are the biggest person. It's you and my brother Jared that I
Right
share
here.
all of my music
shout out
with.
to Jared.
And,
He
yeah,
deserves
shout
a
out to Jared. Yeah.
yeah.
Love you, Jared.
This has been incredible. Final words for Demko on the Cypher. What's up?
Final words are be you, love yourself, sleep really well. Drink
hydrated.
more water.
Yeah, drink more, stay hydrated.
Yeah, to quote Mick Jenkins, drink more water or you might die.
Yeah, go fuck it up a bit too, right?
Yeah. And just go fucking ham.
Yeah.
Just go ham. Just go for it. Go do your thing.
Until next
Go do
time,
your thing.
Demko, Cypher, this is it. Peace.